Good evening, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Deep Culture Podcast. This is Fali here once again, and I hope you guys are doing well back at home. And if you're watching this, please subscribe to the channel. Why won't you? Please join us as a family, the Deep Culture family. Subscribe to the channel and join our Facebook group as well, because that's where all the engagements and the conversations are going on, right? So each week, we invite the new members of the group to come on and say hello, and after that get engaged with the conversations, the discussions that we have about the past episodes and about future episodes as well. So join us on the Facebook group. Link is down below in the description, and please subscribe as well. For today's episode is a very charitable episode, I feel. I have a guest with me today who, after seeing her stories, her Instagram stories a couple of times, it really got me thinking, like, I have to get her on the Deep Culture Podcast, because I think it's one of those moves that really has a huge impact on the community. And I see that it's got a lot of attention as well, because you need attention for podcasts, right? So, so I think it was important to share this movement with the people of the podcast. And also, if you feel like you want to give back to society, this is one of the options to go for, right? So without further ado, please welcome Nnickki to the Deep Culture Podcast. Nnickki, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So happy to be here.
Yes. How are you, Nnickki?
Good. I think I'm doing relatively better given the pandemic. So
better than
before the pandemic.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess time at home. Okay. And I think you get to learn a lot in terms of how the pandemic has changed a lot of things. We tend to take a lot of things for granted, right?
Definitely,
so, yeah. Great learning lesson.
Yeah.
Great.
So you were working from home the whole time?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And what do you do, actually?
Wow. Well, okay, basically I do project management and customer management. So it involves a lot of paperwork, lots of meetings. It's great. I mean, now that everyone knows meeting can be done via Zoom.
Right.
Yeah, why do we go to work at all? No, we still have to. I'm just saying, in case my boss watches this. Yeah.
Right. But do you think it's going to shift, though, to a lot more of working from home in the future?
Yeah, and I think work from home benefits especially parents with kids, younger kids. I think it's good for everyone to consider how maybe everyone says we need a 4-day work week, right? Maybe every Friday we should all just work from home. Yes. I mean, I would support that.
Who wouldn't, right?
Who wouldn't? And I think I'm a lot more productive also working from home, because the traveling time to...
You are?
Yeah, I'm super productive. I think I'm very on siao one when I work from home.
Okay, at home, do you have a separate space for your sleep and comfort and your workspace, or are they mixed?
No, I have a separate, because I think my mom, since young, she's always had this study room concept for us.
Okay.
So it has still been there. I don't know why I stopped studying 5 years ago, but she still had it. So it's great. It's of great use. I didn't have to purchase any desk or whatever. It was just there.
Okay.
But I like working from my bed sometimes too.
I can't work from my
No,
room.
oh my god, I love it.
I tried, but I just
No
can't.
one can piss me off when I'm working from my bed. I'm like a very sane person.
And outside, you're...
Semi-sane. Still nice though, still nice.
Nice way to put it. Okay. So, today we're going to be talking about a project that you started working on.
Yes.
Volunteering.
Yeah.
Right? And that's called Project Hearts.
Hearts. All starting with H.
All starting with H, yes. Project Hearts. So tell us a little bit more about what is Project Hearts.
Okay, so Project Hearts, basically, I'll start off with how I entered through Project Hearts, right?
Please.
So, 6 years ago, my dad passed away. It was a sudden heart attack. And at that time, I was completely, because I was the closest to him and he was the closest to me. He's like my best friend. So I was completely lost. And I remember at
Sorry
that
to
time...
hear that, by the way.
It's okay. Still tough, but yeah, it's okay. And must be, right? Losing someone. Well, then I had to somehow get into supporting the family matters and stuff like that. So we were trying to look for a helper, but we were having some issues with that. So everyone was saying, oh, why not you go for Meet the People session? So for all those who do not know, Meet the People session is where MPs that we have voted for will actually sit every week, and they will actually hear your problems, and they will help you to write appeal letters and things like that. And because we have so many residents, right, the MPs of course have volunteers who help them to write the letters as well.
Okay.
So I went for one of those sessions and I met Louis, who was our MP in our grassroots.
Louis Ng.
Mr. Louis Ng.
Louis Ng, okay.
Very famous on social media, I must say.
Okay.
So I met him and I remember like the first thing he told me was like, why are you so sad? And I'm like, I just lost my dad, so I should be sad. And he also lost his dad. So we had like a very good conversation, like a very short conversation about it. And he helped me out with a letter. And at that time, he told me, maybe to take my mind off things, I should start volunteering.
Okay.
And
cool.
he's like, why not next week you just come by and you can, maybe help us. And I was like, who on earth asked me to volunteer when I'm like going through such a tough time? I kept thinking about it. Should I not? But I just told myself, okay, why not, right? Let's go. So I went and then I started helping out residents who came with their problems. You know the saying they always say, right? Like when you think your problem is the worst. But there are people with worse worst advice ever. Do not give people that kind of advice. Like nobody needs that.
Okay.
But when I went, I met a lot of residents who were a lot stronger than me.
Okay.
They went through so much. I remember a person whose husband committed suicide because he had so much of debt, and she just gave birth to a son.
Oof.
And and she was at a loss, and she was a foreigner, and her husband was a Singapore citizen, and she didn't have family here. So when she had like no tears, and I remembered writing the letter for her that time, because to help her with to tide over for a few months and help her find jobs and things like that. And I remember asking her, so how are you coping? And then she cried and she said, you are the first person to ask me that question. And I was like, and we had a good conversation. And you learn so much from people like that, like how they really are coping and how they are so strong for their kids. And these are people that are unsung heroes. I mean, we see so many like hero, but actually these are really the people who I feel like they are heroes. So much. I've learned so much through Meet the People session. Then one day, long story short, one day I met a fellow volunteer called Yvonne. Yvonne, and she was, I would say, God sent because because she also lost her dad, and at that time, like, she was someone who really like sat me down, like listened to me, and we are both very similar in terms we are both very strong people who don't talk about our feelings.
Insane?
No, she's very sane. She's a nurse, so she's very, very sane. And she helped me through like really difficult times, and that was when she told me that she was doing Project Hearts. So Yvonne was leading Project Hearts at that time. And Project Hearts was started for the lower income residents in Nee Soon.
Okay.
And what Louis does is that every month he would actually bring the kids out. So just the kids from the lower income family, he brings them out for outings. And Yvonne and a few of our volunteers, they were all coordinating and trying to, arrange for these outings to happen and things like that. So she was like, why not you join us? And I was like, sure, very free, right? So like, yeah lah, go lah, join. So I started, met the kids. I swear the kids were like this height. They were all like 5 and 6, and now they are like taller than me. Not something I'm proud of, but
What's your height, Nnickki?
168.5.
Hey.
0.5 matters.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah. 0.5 matters. But yeah, that's how Project Heart started. Our first outing, we brought all the kids to the movies. And like some of the kids were like 10 years old.
Sorry, this is all free or is it?
Oh, it's all free. They do not pay anything.
Discount. Oh, so it's all free?
It's all free.
Nice, okay.
And we pick them up from this particular block where most of the kids stay. So their parents will come, send the kids over, and then we will take attendance and everything. So we have all the parents' contact number in case, touch wood, anything happens. Nothing has happened in the 5 years. We've done good. And so we have to and fro transport to bring them to the location, and then they get to go and enjoy things that, what is funny is that I remember the first outing, we brought them to the movies. And many of them were like, that was the first time they've been to the movies. And they're 10, 11. And I'm like, I used to go to the movies when I was so much younger. Yeah. And yet, like, what we think is a necessity is a luxury to them. And like the smile that you see, like we brought them to the bird park, we brought them to the zoo, we brought them to Wild Wild Wet, and I died. I realized that having 10 kids in one group was not a good idea. They were just running
so one
around.
volunteer to 10 children?
Yeah, because in the beginning when we started, we have really, really small group of volunteers, and we had so many kids.
Right.
So we definitely didn't want to exclude any kid. And we didn't want to go into this whole zone of trying to like, assess them and give it to like the most lowest income. We didn't want to do that because we just didn't want to start off a group in that sense.
Okay.
We wanted it to be for everybody. And we have an amazing group of volunteers who are like principals of childcare, have their own businesses. They are all like, they have such hectic work schedules, and yet they manage to make time for the kids.
Did they come on board themselves, or did you guys have to source out these volunteers?
Initially, we were sourcing them out from the Meet the People session volunteer group itself.
Okay.
That's how it started. And then eventually we started sourcing it out. We wanted to get more younger. I mean, I'm young too, but, younger than me like poly students. Poly students to come in because like the kids are also growing up.
Yeah.
Like, I think over the years we've realized that our kids are growing up. Our kids are growing up. And they also need people a bit closer to their age range so that they can confide in things. I can't be the only one who knows about all their girlfriends and boyfriends. I need, company. So yeah, now we have like a few more poly students that have joined us in volunteering, and, it's good because it helps to bridge the gap. Because they might not be so comfortable sharing everything with us.
Yeah.
Because they see us like a family figure. So it's great to have a bit more younger blood to come in.
Yeah.
Not to give advice, but I think just to be there for them if they ever
Comfort.
need. Comfort.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Cool.
Yeah.
So 5 years you've been doing this.
Yes, going to be 6.
Going to be 6.
Going to be
Yeesh.
6. Yeah.
That's been a long time. Okay, so how did this project even come about? Because like I don't hear many of these kind of I call it movements, but what is it? Is it a project?
Yeah, I mean it's a movement. We are just doing it something for our kids in our GRC. I think it started off because initially when doing the Meet the People session, they actually noticed that there were a lot of kids that fall under the lower income families.
Right.
And what actually happens is that, you see, when you are part of a family that has a lot of struggles, you find it very easy to choose the wrong path.
Okay.
And I think us as volunteers, even me for an instance, right, I've also noticed that when you are at a growing age, especially in secondary school time, you always have a trouble choosing your friends.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
And you always hear our parents saying that you must choose the right friends, because the right friends matter. And I feel like, especially when home is an environment where you have a lot of responsibilities from such a young age, a lot of the kids, they are the eldest in their family. They might be just 14, 15, but they're the eldest in the family, and they have a lot of younger siblings that they have to take care.
Right.
Because their parents have to hold 2 or 3 jobs to try to give them the childhood that they deserve. So their parents are busy working, and usually the eldest kids, they will take the reign of the family.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of responsibility for them to care for their siblings and for them to focus on their schoolwork. And a lot of times it's easy for them to choose the wrong path. And that's what we do not want it to happen. So when they started this whole thing, it was just the main idea that we wanted the kids to have a group of volunteers that they can rely on. So if they have any problems at home, whether it's financial problems or, some emotional problems or whatever is it, they have someone that they can go to and talk to.
So it's kind of like a peer support group.
It is like a peer support group. It started off like that. And then I think it has just grown into like a big happy family that we see once a month, which is great. I think they don't want to see us more than once a month.
And who came up with this idea though?
It was Yvonne and Louis.
Okay.
Yeah, they both came up with this idea in the start. And from then it has just branched out. I mean, we started off with like small outings. And then it went bigger. And then eventually we had companies who came in who wanted to support. We had a bikers organization who came in for 1 year.
Okay.
We did a big Christmas where they sponsored all the gifts for the kids. And some of the kids got like 2 or 3 gifts because they just came with so much of gifts. And we did like a underblock carnival sort of thing for them. And celebrated Christmas. That was our first Christmas we celebrated together.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and then we have Lumilets, which is one of the companies in Yishun.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have also sponsored outings with us. So last year Christmas, oh my God, seems so long ago, but last year Christmas, we all brought them to Jewel.
Okay.
And they paid for 2 of the attractions in Jewel.
What
So the
attractions are
kids.
those? Oh, you mean the one at the top there?
Yeah, the one that all of them were like going like monkeys climbing the rope. Yeah,
yeah.
that thing. Yeah, they had to go. Then I had to go with them, and
No.
not a fan of heights. No.
So how often does this happen that you bring them out for outings?
It used to be every month.
Once a month. Right.
On a monthly basis. We will all like discuss, and we usually discuss 6 months in advance, come up with a schedule on where we think the kids should go.
Okay.
So we try not to just bring them to places of attraction. We try to incorporate some sort of activities for them. Like this year, we wanted to do a session where we teach them how to bake cookies, because we thought that if we teach them how to bake cookies, it's a skill that they can use it for themselves in future back at home. And then we also wanted them to learn how to make keychains and things like that.
Right.
We wanted to equip them with so many skills, right? Then COVID happened, and we were like, okay. So yeah, usually 6 months before we will plan ahead, and then every month before the event happens, we will coordinate. So there's a core group of us that actually helps to coordinate, like get the bus, buy the tickets, and things like that, and then book Louisa's calendar. Very busy calendar.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
So what goes into the considerations when you are planning this? Because you said 6 months before, right?
Yes.
At that point, 6 months before, what goes into the considerations of the planning? Like you mentioned life skills, so things like cookies, right? What else is there? Is it like, I'm sure safety is also another one. But what's the aim of this? Is it just to give them a new experience in life, or is it something that's supposed to help them develop as a human being?
I think it's a mixture of everything, but when we always say that we cannot have all the activities so boring, like in a sense, like, learning life skill is considered boring to anybody who is at the age of 8 to 16. They're just like, why are you doing this to me? But like, so we cannot have that, right?
Yeah.
So we try to include fun elements. So we bring them to Wild Wild Wet. Sometimes we bring them to watch a movie just for them to distress. The time we had like this whole movie night thing that we had. So movie marathon, yeah, we had 2 movies, and it was just in the comfort of our CC. We booked a CC room, and Lumilets sponsored for food and drinks, and their volunteers came on with us, and we just sat with the kids, and we all just watched 2 movie marathons. And it's more of giving them an experience to know that they have this community. Like every month they all gather together, they all get to go somewhere together as friends, and most of them, they all study in the same school, and they live in the same block,
right?
So they meet each other every day on the playground, even without us. They know every month, like we all will come and we will all do something, and we will all go somewhere with the MP, and to them that is something that they get to look forward to. And one of the things that we did was to incorporate their improvement program. So we actually had a thing where we told them how important grades are, right? So for kids that have actually improved in their grades, now they don't have to be an A student. They don't have to pass the subject. But if they improve tremendously, then they actually get something. For kids who have done really well, like we make sure that they are being rewarded accurately. But we also don't want it to be a very competitive system where, in this group you have to do well, then only you get this kind of things. But it's more of like, we just want to let them know that you have to work hard, and then you can be rewarded.
Right. And what about, you mentioned that this was targeted towards like lower income families, right? What about, there's a saying, give the man a fish and he'll only learn how to eat it or something, right? But if you teach him how to fish, then it's a lifelong skill. So like, are you guys also teaching these kids in terms of like financial intelligence? I think there's one term to call it, like how to manage money and how to maybe get a better job. Grades was one way to get there, right? What other ways are you guys also helping them to break out of this so-called low income barrier? Low income barrier, yes, that's one.
I think a lot of times we have heart-to-heart talks with the kids. I think that's always the first ground to anything, because you can tell someone like, you must study hard, you must future, you must work hard, if not you will be like this, right? You can tell someone that like a million times. It's never going to register in their head. But one of the things, like I think we have a volunteer by the name Uncle Ban. We all call him Uncle Ban.
Uncle Ban, okay.
Uncle Ban.
Shout out Uncle Ban.
Shout out Uncle Ban. And he has always been like, he's always talked to the kids about, so he owns a business, right? So he always talks to the kids about how he had a hard time and how he grew up and all the challenges that he faced. He tries to build an emotional connect with the kids. And he tries to tell them that it's okay, just because you see where I am here today, it's not something that happened overnight.
Right.
And through those stories, they actually learn what they need to learn.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very hard for us. Like, we can do like a financial course maybe for them. You know, we have thought about it because we do have kids from the upper secondary or going to enter upper secondary or have already entered poly and things like that. And we definitely want to cater programs that are closer towards the kids for that. But it's still something that we are working in progress. But at least for now, we are trying to tell them stories of how hard we've had a life.
Okay.
And to let them know that it's not something that it will forever be in that barrier. It's something that if you put in your hard work, you can reach out. And a lot of kids have done well in school. They have improved tremendously. And a lot of our volunteers, like Mami Nancy and all of them, they have contacts in schools, you know. So like if they try to play punk in school, we will be informed.
Yeah.
And then we have a discipline master, YJ, who literally like he's literally our discipline master. So whenever anything goes wrong, he's the only one who will talk to to them. So yeah, we do have this kind of things in place just to kind of give them a family feel.
Right.
Just to kind of let them know that they can come to us, and they have came to us whenever they face any sort of challenges or like
so the
at
trust
home.
is there. Then.
The trust is there, and I think it took years to build that trust. It's not something that happens overnight, but
And that also means that the volunteers have to be consistently the same people, right?
yes, we are very happy to say that for 5 years our volunteers have been the same. Yeah,
that's nice.
and it's a huge commitment, you know. It might seem like just bringing the kids out. No, let me tell you, I brought the kids out for like Wild Wild Wet, and they were just running around that entire place. I was just like, oh my god, do I need to have kids after this? But no, I will. But yeah, the point is like it's not an easy task. And you know, these volunteers, they, like I said, they also have work commitments. They also have families. And for them to really put aside one entire day, it takes a lot. Even for our MP Lewis, the fact that he takes that one day off, you know, he brings his daughter, sometimes Ella, to come with us. And Ella makes so much of friends with the kids.
Of course.
There is never like, you know, you hear all these stories, right? Like even when we are in school, we were like, oh, some people won't talk to us because, you know, they're so high fly. But even like Ella, she's so young and she's friends with all the kids, and they all just like go out as an outing, and it's like a family feel. Now he doesn't have to do it. You know, I mean, he's so busy, right? But he still does it because I think all of us, we all still do it because we love the kids so much. I think it started off as a project that we wanted to do, just to make sure that the kids have someone. But I think we've all grown to learn so much from them, and even like just, I don't know, they are part of me now, and they are part of all of us now.
It's an emotional connection.
It's an emotional connection. Even our volunteers, they bring their kids along. Yeah, so their kids also get to mingle, and their kids also see the way of how impactful volunteering can actually be.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a nice connect thing. And I'll give you an example. So one day we were all going on an outing.
Okay.
So there's this big group of boys who are like, they are like one group, one clique, because they're all around the same age, 14, 15.
Right.
So we were walking, we did this like treasure hunt scenario. So we were just walking, the volunteers were walking behind, talking to the younger kids, right? And then this auntie actually dropped her cardboard and a few things across the road.
Okay.
And guess what the boys did? They were just across the road, right? They say, wait wait I mean, that's how kids talk nowadays. But yeah, still. He's like, wait and then 3 of them actually crossed the road and helped the auntie to put all the cardboards together and moved her until to the shelter. It's not something that they needed to do. But when we saw that, we were just like, they've grown up.
Big boys now.
Big boys now. And you know,
not just big boys, I think
responsible boys, and it's nice to
good
see that
qualities,
kind of thing. Yeah. You felt like you've done something right.
Yeah. You've nurtured good qualities with these kids.
Yes, and trust me, I think in this world you can have the education, but I think what really, really matters is hard work, and what really, really matters is that you're a good human. Character, yeah. Characters are very important. Being honest, being truthful. We've always told the kids the most important thing is you can be anybody you want to be, but you need to be honest in that profession, because that's what's going to bring you a long way. And these are the things that we want to embed in them, and we hope that they bring it through to their future.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Nice.
Nice
I know.
sharing, nice
oh,
sharing.
nice sharing.
Okay, Nnickki, you touched on something earlier that, you know, there is this so-called notion where, you know, in school kids are going to be like, hey, this is the lower income people, maybe you won't talk to them. Or maybe the lower income will stick to them and then they want to talk to the higher income kids and stuff like that. Correct me if I'm wrong or enlighten me on this, because I also have this thought in my head that if we continue, for example, to put these kids into that group, like the lower income family group, right? one day are they gonna accept that as their fate? Because they've been in this so-called bubble so long that they start to say, you know what, this is just me. This is my parents do that. The people around me do that.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with being in a lower income, and then they're just gonna continue doing that. How do you help them break out of that? Do you see that as a potential problem as well?
Oh, it is. I think it's something that we all knew going into this, that this would be. See, we are, I always believe that we are who we are because of what we are surrounded with.
Yes.
Right? So, and whatever we see our parents go through, whatever we see that happen around us, we just feel like that's life. That's how life is going to be. So why try so hard? You know, I came from a very, very struggling days. Like, I think my parents, I'm very blessed. They have given me everything I've asked for. Great parents.
Wonderful.
Yeah, my mom should be watching this. So yeah,
Shut
great.
up, Mom. Good job.
They have given me a lot, but they have also struggled their way through. It was not like, you know, we didn't have everything handed out to us. But seeing all that, I always told myself one thing. I'm going to be freaking successful and rich one day.
Nice.
And because you always feel like you want to, like, especially, you know, you want to give back to your parents, you want to, like, lead a more comfortable life, and but you are what you choose to be. And, you know, even for the kids, and that is one of the things that we also teach the kids, just because situation is like this now, it doesn't mean it will be like this forever. It's in your hands whether you want this to continue to be forever. And, you know, we talk, and that's why I said, like, a lot of our volunteers, we share about how we all grew up. And we all didn't grow up with, like, everything handed out to us. All the volunteers, we've all worked for what we have. So sometimes we just share our own stories, and we will always emphasize to them that the change you want to see in your future is in your hands.
Wow.
You can blame everybody for it. You can blame the society. You can blame your parents. You can be like, oh, my parents could have done better. Or no, my parents were like that, so I'm also going to be like that. Yeah. But you have to understand that your future is the only thing that's in your hands. Every decision that you make towards that is on you. Yeah. It's not on anybody else. It's just on you. And that's something that you need to have ownership of. And that's something we teach the kids as well.
Yeah. Sounds actually kind of like a movement for, you know, a government party or something. What was the line you said just now? The change that you want to see is in your hands or something?
Yeah. That's oh my God, yes. Wow, I should. Yeah.
Get Louis to do that. Get Louis put it on the shirt. Slogan.
Slogan, good slogan though.
It is.
Yes.
I think that's the standout line for me so far in this conversation.
I said so many things and that's the standout.
Stand out.
Okay.
It's the top.
Okay.
I haven't said that the rest are like neglected, but that's a standout line.
Yeah.
I think it hits a chord with me because I think I feel the same way as well. And I really truly believe that it is really down to you. Like, you can complain all you want about life.
Yeah.
Right? You can have everybody around you also complain about life, but it's, at the end of the day, it's about what you want to do.
And it's tough to always make that decision. And I know how tough it can be. Like, we always tell the kids that, you know, sometimes you come back home, you just want to play. Yeah. But no, you have to come back home and change the pampers of your brother and, like, you know, teach your sister homework. And you're like, I don't even want to do my own homework and now I have to teach her homework. So it's a lot of frustrations. And sometimes you tend to want to give up. But, you know, you see, that's life, right? Some people have it easy in the beginning. Some people have it harder in the beginning. But you should persevere. Yeah. And you should change. And you can change. It's a tough journey, but it's a worthwhile journey. I should be a motivational speaker after today, I think so. To say that, right?
Wonderful, Nnickki. Love that. Now, let's transition to the next project that you shared about. And this was the one that really caught my attention. Project
Hope.
Oh, beat me to it. Project Hope.
Hope, yes. Right.
Share with us a bit more about what is this Project Hope and how it came about, maybe.
So one random day when we were all sitting down in the MPS room, just
Who's
like
we?
Me, our volunteers, and Mr. Lewis.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and Mr. Lewis mentioned that he said that, don't you think Meet the People session is quite a depressing place? And we were like, huh? Depressing, man? What do you mean? And then he's right. It's just a room that you walk in, there's tables, and then, you know, there's volunteers, and then there's an MP that is sitting there. It's not somewhere, because a lot of people when they come in already, they are coming in sad, right? Because they have a problem. They are either frustrated with the problem and they need help, or they are very upset with the problem and they don't know how to deal with it and they need help. Right. So when they come, he's right. It's not like a very hyped place. It is quite depressing, right? So he actually said that we need to change it. Okay. And so we all sat down and we were all brainstorming ideas on how do we change this room. And so he suggested, because a lot of them bring their kids, so that we have this kids play area in the front where he donated some of the toys that he had for his own kids, and then we made up this play area which hit a chord with the kids because they just came, all the kids just played together, and the parents were like, okay, thank God, now I can say my story in peace.
No distractions.
No distractions. So that happened. We repainted the walls color and everything, and then he was like, no, we need to do something more for these people. And then we were like, okay, what do we do? And then there was this idea of how we can have a store.
Okay.
So they said, why not? We do have a space in our MPS room where we can actually have it like a store. So whoever who comes in with a problem, or they need help, or they need anything, we can ask them to actually go into the store and pick out something that they like, and they get to bring it back home.
Okay.
Great idea, right? If I have a problem and I want to go to a store, I'm telling you, it's nice because shopping is my therapy. So, it was that kind of an idea that was embedded into Project Hope, and it started off with that. It was truly driven by Louis in the beginning, and Marilyn, who started off with him, and we decided to start a donation drive. So we wanted to get everyone from our community to donate items, so that everyone. So we were like, okay, let's put a word out to say that, get people to donate their items, and then we can like put it up in a store.
Yeah.
And so we got Louis to do a Facebook post, to ask people to come and donate so that we can set up the store.
Okay. I think I came across that just while doing the research on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that post, of course, got a lot of likes because, like I said, he very famous. So he very social media famous one. So after Louis' post, we had a lot of residents coming in to donate items. So we decided to have this one particular day, said that, okay, on this particular day, if you want to donate any of the items, it's like just feel free to drop by on our Meet the People session and donate the items. Okay. And to our surprise, there was like so many people who actually turned up on that day, and I don't even know how to put it into words, but let's just say the amount of items that we donated was worthwhile to be kept in 2 to 3 storerooms.
How big is the storeroom?
Like, I guess the size of this place. That's big, right?
I guess so, but
yeah.
Like, people who can't see this space.
Oh, people. I know, right? I'm talking as if like this. But I guess it's a normal storeroom size that you would actually have. So it's like, you open the door and then that space, that box space that you have. Okay. So it's quite huge to have 3 storerooms. And all of our donated items were filled from the entrance all the way up until the road side. I think I have pictures on my Instagram that you can reference to.
Instagram, guys.
Yeah, please do. There was this entire lane on the road that was blocked because there were items of donations that were piling up. And the people that were donating items were not just from Yishun or from Nee Soon. We had people from Bukit Panjang Condo. Wow. Who actually, so this one particular person from Bukit Panjang Condo collected from all his residents in the condominium. And then because he had a car, so he came all the way to Nee Soon and he passed us the donation. Wow. Yes. And we've had people who came from MacPherson, people who came from Bishan, and so many, like they were willing to make the travel to come and to donate the items. And they donated items like clothes, toys, school bags, used assessment books, and a lot of baby stuff, which I think it was very heartwarming because I think that was something that we never knew we needed, which we actually needed. Baby stuff? Yeah, we had a lot of baby clothes. We had a lot of breast pumps that are brand new that have not been used. We had like 10 to 12 baby strollers. Oh. Yeah, Louis donated one of his own baby stroller. And then after that, we had like so many other people who gave us their baby stroller. We had baby cots. We had rockers. Right. We have unused milk bottles. We had about 8 breast pump devices that were just brand new. That has not been used. And all the toys that the babies play with, the baby books and things like that. And it was great. And then we had like home appliances, bread toaster, oven, vacuum cleaner.
Basically everything you need in a house was there.
Anything and everything you need in a house was there. Soft toys for kids, school going items, shoes, sneakers.
Clothes, are they for kids or for adults? Or
It
for...
ranged from all age group. We
Okay.
had like for kids and for adults. Of course, what happens is after that huge donation drive,
Yeah.
right? We had
Oh
the
boy.
problem came when we had to sort. But like what Louis always says, it's a good problem.
Hmm.
It's not a bad problem.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
That's
good problem to have.
Positive look to that.
To that. So we had to get volunteers. We had seniors who came to volunteer to help us with the sorting. So we started. So because all the items that people donated, right, is just in bags.
Okay.
So it's filled with a lot of things. So we started seeing what are the things that were mostly donated, and then we started categorizing the store. And then after that, we got all of our volunteers, whether it was the seniors or the students, to come in and help us do the sorting accordingly
Yeah.
to the relevant categories. Louis' kids came down to help with the sorting as well. So cute. And then a lot of our volunteers brought their kids,
Yeah.
and then their kids' friends.
It's almost like a family thing.
Yeah, it's
right?
almost like a family thing. And it has always been the way, at least in our side of things. So we started sorting things out, and then we arranged the store. So that was the first thing that we did. So to arrange that store, it took us a while.
I bet.
Yes.
Like, imagine cleaning up your house, but this is like 3 storerooms, right?
Yeah. So, and we had to do like one storeroom after another storeroom. And we started doing the store, and then the store was up and running. So we started getting our lower income families to come into the store.
Right.
Because of course, whoever come in to the meet the people session get to come into the store and pick something that they like. But
Parents or children?
mix.
Anyone. basically.
Anyone. So sometimes there will be parents who will come in with their kids. So their kids will come in, and the kids will always take the soft toy, like the Pikachu or
Right.
any of the other Pokemon toys that they have. And yeah, the parents get to pick whatever that they think that they really need at that point of time.
Yeah.
And so that was that. So we had that going, but we also felt like more people would benefit from this store. So then we decided that, okay, why not we get our lower income residents to come down and also pick items that they think that is necessary for them. That means it's a necessity for them, but maybe they can't afford it, or they haven't afforded it, or something like that.
Gotcha.
So one of the people that we have was he came down, and he was going to be a father in literally like 8 days or 9 days ish. And he hadn't had anything prepared yet, because the wife was already working towards until her maternity leave, and then she was warded, and he was working 2 jobs. So they hadn't had time to buy any items or anything like that.
But 8 days.
8 days, yes. 8 days. I was saying, and I still remember he showed me, he FaceTimed his wife and showed me, and then I spoke to the wife for a while, and I'm like, you really haven't bought anything? The baby is coming, and he's like, no, I have like a few things like Pampers and all that, but he haven't gotten like the cot and all that other items lah, which is understandable, because I mean that man has been working to his bones, just to, you know, make sure that the baby comes in and it's comfortable. So when he came to the store, and his eyes opened so big at the baby section, because it's literally everything he needed.
Yeah.
And I told him, you know, you get to take whatever that you want. So he took the breast pump, he took the stroller, we had a big baby cot that we told him to take, because he haven't had a baby cot yet. And also the rocker thing that would probably be useful 2 to 3 months now, because they keep crying and they don't want to sleep. So, and
how did you guys deliver all that though?
so we did get people who helped to move these items. Like the big items, we get to move it to his place, because his place was quite close to where our Meet the People session was held. So we got
by
some
van or like
we arranged like
okay.
some transportation for it to be
Gotcha.
given it to him, and all of these are free. They don't pay. So it's a great thing, because that particular day, all his like half his worry was gone.
Yeah.
Because now he's very prepared for the baby to come any day, man. The baby can come. And he was very grateful. And I remember when I was speaking to him, that's when I had the impact of how much this store can actually mean to someone.
Yeah.
Things that we think is a necessity for us is a luxury for them. And a lot of school bags. You'll be so surprised like how many school bags we got that were just brand new. And I remember someone who came to donate gave me a school bag, and I remember when she handed it to me, it's like, hey, it's new eh. And then she's like, yeah, my son didn't like the colour.
Woo!
It's like, great. Some other kid is gonna love that
Yeah,
school
man.
bag, you know. But yeah, I guess, there's a lot of things that we can say, but I think we ourselves are guilty about it.
Yeah.
I'm very sure when I was younger, I told my mom something as similar to that.
Yeah.
So I guess we learn, but at least, by them donating these items, instead of throwing it away, it's going to put a smile on someone else's face. And I think that is, I don't know if that's good karma, but I just feel like that is something to feel happy about, that you made someone else smile.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
And how has that been for you, like, as a person who's giving back to the community, seeing that kind of reaction and their happiness?
It's been great. I think the one thing for me is, my dad has always been someone who loves helping people. He's like the good Samaritan, I would say. And I hated helping people. I never understood the concept. I always told my father, like, why do you have to help so many people? Like, we ourselves, like, are not like so well-to-do. I always feel like people who are well-to-do should help people. And people who are normal like us, like,
We get the help.
we get the help, right? Like, that was like my concept. And I never understood it because, like, I've seen how my father struggled.
Yeah.
And I've seen how my mother struggled. And to me, it's like they both have always given people things, even though they were struggling. And I never understood that concept.
Yeah.
Right? Call it a millennial thought, but I never understood that concept. And
I feel
yeah. So I was that kind of a person. But when my dad passed away, when I started volunteering, I felt a lot closer to him in a sense where I felt like this is something he would be very proud of. This is something that would have made him very happy.
Aww.
Because his little girl is doing what he would do for
Yeah.
people. And, been given the opportunity to volunteer and been given the opportunity to lead these projects is not something I ever thought I would do in my free time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. It's not only something that made me feel very close or still connected with my dad, but I think it also made me realize that it's not about how much you have, I don't think you need to have so much in order for you to give people.
Right.
Like, you can have the smallest thing with you, but if someone comes and someone else needs it more than you and you give it, you just feel like you helped someone out. And that's a great feeling to have, especially in how the world is today.
Yeah.
I think when you help someone and seeing how much of an impact you've made in their life, it's just something that you smile about.
Yeah.
And great experiences, I must say about this one particular story. So this kid came to the store to collect items. So in the beginning, we had like this whole restriction where you only have to pick like 15 items per person.
Okay.
And then the boy came in and, he picked all he came in with his little sister, who picked all soft toys, by the way. And then he was picking up things, and then he wanted the lorry, the big lorry toy that was there. And he told me, I'm going to take, Then I said, okay, great. I'll keep it one side for you. And so after he picked everything, I think he was at his 14th item. And he went and he took the baby Pampers, a set of Pampers that was there for 0 to 3 years old. And then his sister was like, then you cannot take any more already. So I was still there because our volunteers, we will have to rove around so that we can help, because we also have seniors who come into the store, so we need to help them pick out the items and all. So I was just beside. And he's like, the sister was like, you take this, then you cannot take the lorry, And then I remember he said this exact word. He said, yeah, but we need Pampers. We don't have Pampers. Like, Ade needed Pampers. And so before he went, I actually gave him the lorry. Yeah, because, that's the thing. The kid was, 10, 11? Like, I wasn't like that when I was 10 or 11. Screw my sibling. I'm getting what I want.
My time.
My time. And for him to say that, for him to have that kind of a mindset, so young, for him to put his siblings first before himself, that is something that really touched me. And that is something that really made me and that was a Project Hearts kid, by the way. So it made me even more proud that, they were nurtured this way. And after that, I remembered we had a talk with us volunteers and Louis, and we decided let's not be very strict on this, like, take only 15 things. So we started getting more volunteers to our store, so that every week, so what we had is every alternate week we will invite like 10 families from our database to actually come down and pick the items that they want, and we will let them in like 4 families by 4 families. So we have each volunteer assigned to the family, so that if they need more items, the volunteer, it's in their discretion to go ahead and help them out.
It's more like a case by case basis.
Yeah, it's more a case by case basis, because I remember Louise once said that this is not something that we should be. It's not about being very strict Of course, everyone who has donated the items, they want the items to go to people who
need it.
who really need it.
Yeah.
And that is something that we are very aware. But if we are going to restrict every single thing, you know, these are people who are struggling on a day-to-day basis. And if you want to give wholeheartedly. Don't even restrict something
Not like
and give.
nitpicking kind
Yeah,
of thing.
don't be so, like, I remember he told me this is not something that, you know, we are supposed to be so nitpicky about it and they only have to take 15. This is something we are doing from the heart for them, and they need to be satisfied, they need to be fulfilled, and they deserved it. So,
Right.
you know, definitely, because when we invite them, we know that they do meet certain requirements. So,
Yeah.
of course, we are making, because the public are the one who donated it, so we are sure to know that these are people who deserve it. These are people who really, really need the item. And that should be enough as a first check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, maybe I need your help on this. Okay, maybe for somebody who has been doing, you mentioned giving a lot, right?
Yeah.
Giving is more powerful. You know, even though you have it, it's important to give as well.
Yes.
Right. For me personally, I find that sometimes a struggle. Like I do give my donations. I do give charity. I help out and all that as much as I can, at least. But I also feel the struggle of, you know, for example, if I have money right now, right? I just got my income. I have money right now. And I know that this money is enough to sustain me, just enough to sustain me. But I also know that I should probably also help out and give charity, you know, maybe from religious points of view or from your personal point of view, whatever it may be. How do you balance that need to feel like, you know, this is enough, this is, yeah, it's maybe just a little bit more than I probably need, but that's also for me to spend and have fun with my friends, but at the same time that could also go out to help people. So where do you draw the line?
I guess the one thing I've really learned is that to volunteer money is not what you need. To give money is not what you need to give.
Right.
I think that is also something that I struggle with. Like, I have had the same struggle, and that's why I'm like, I'm not giving anybody. But then I realized, when I started volunteering, I realized that it's not about how much money you donate, you know. It's not about how much money you donate. It's not about how much you give, your time that you give. All of our volunteers today, whether it's Project Hearts, Project Hopes, or even Meet the People session, they are giving that one day of their week or the one day of their month to a cause to help out, whether they are sorting out the donated items, or whether they are helping people write appeal letters, or whether they are bringing the kids out for an outing. They are giving their time. The time that they could have used for their family, the time that they could have used for their loved ones, the time that they could have just used to chill and relax and watch Netflix. They are giving up that time. And that time is as valuable as any money could be. Because when you spend that time doing this, you are doing it for a cause that benefits somebody, that puts a smile on someone's face. And you should be happy about that. Like, you know, we have younger kids that come in and then they turn into volunteers. And we always say that you are doing something great, not just for the community, but you are making an impact on someone's life. And that is something that no money can buy. Even our residents who gave so much of donations, they could have easily given the items to their own family members. They didn't have to give it to the community. They didn't have to make the trip down and give it to them. They could have just been like, oh, you don't want to throw lah, or you don't want to, oh, ask your friend lah, whoever want take. They could have done it, but they didn't. And that is also giving. And that is also something magnanimous. A lot of times we tend to only idealize, or we only tend to praise people who have given money in forms of donations. But I've always thought that was a wrong way to do it. Time is very precious. And the fact that you are willing to make the trip, the fact that you're willing to sit and spend 2 or 3 hours of your time for a cause, that is called giving. Yeah, that is good enough.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Not just, like, I think for me, that overtakes the standout earlier.
Great.
Because it's something that I have struggled with. Like, I'm thinking, like, personally for me, like, sometimes financially, I've been in a bit of a rut over the last year or so. So now that I have this income come in, I kind of want to protect it. In the sense, like, I think, like, I don't know if it's ever going to be enough kind of thing. Maybe I should save more instead of, you know, giving out more. So now that you've given me this other angle to it, now I have a different perspective. Like, yeah, maybe money is not where I can give back to society. It's time.
It is time.
It is time. I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Nnickki.
Welcome.
Worth my Saturday afternoon.
Finally, at least you say it's worth his Saturday afternoon. If not, that would just be sad. Like, I wasted his time.
I'm kidding. But it's been a great conversation so far. Now I just got to ask, why aren't other GRCs doing this? Or are there other similar movements or projects in place?
Aiyo, why
Do
you
you
put
know?
me in such a spot?
I don't know, I'm just wondering, like, are you guys the only one, or are there other projects as well doing this?
No, I think there are other projects. If I'm not wrong, there's another GRC that's doing something similar to Project Hearts. I'm not sure which, I cannot remember offhand because it was a few years ago that we met them, but they are doing it.
Okay.
And for Project Hope, I remember that one of our own other constituency within our site actually came in to see the store because they want to adopt something as of a similar practice.
See.
The thing is, to pull off projects like this, you really need a lot of strong volunteers. And I think that's where the struggle really is, because it's not a one-person job.
Yeah.
It's a group of people. Like today, if you ask me Project Hearts or Project Hope, or even our Meet the People session, the fact that we have been able to do so well, and the fact that we are able to come up with new initiatives and new projects within our site, our Nee Soon site, it's because we have solid volunteers. You know, volunteers that we know that we can depend on, volunteers that will not after 2 times run off.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you see, you can't blame volunteers also, because initially you will think that you're free and then you want to help out.
Yeah.
And then somehow life gets into your way,
Yeah.
you know, and you just can't. So there is all this that we also have to consider, and all this project, whether it's Project Hearts or Hopes or anything, it's a lot of time and effort into it that's being invested. And I think if more people hopefully come in and volunteer,
Hint, hint.
yeah, hint, then I think more people can start to do something as great as these initiatives. And I think the more such initiatives grow, I think the better we can make our world be. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So from your point of view, Nick, right, since we are hinting at hinting, wing at people, right?
Yeah.
What makes a very solid volunteer, in your words?
I think what makes a very solid volunteer is someone who is committed in giving their time.
Okay.
Knowing that, okay, if it's this project needs me every once a month to give my time, I need to make sure that I can at least make it like 10 out of 12 times. Because in a year we have 12 months, right? So 10 out of 12 times.
Yes.
Yeah, for a moment I need to explain myself.
You made me doubt, like, 12 months? Yeah. 12
Yeah.
months,
Yeah, so we understand, you know, sometimes our volunteers, right, especially because we have students,
Right.
and when it comes to exam time, they really cannot volunteer because they need to study, and then they will not come for 2 months.
Okay.
But then they will come back straight after their exams finish. So I think to be a volunteer, you need to know that you have the time to give. And I'll quote you what my mommy said.
Mommy.
Mommy,
Shout out, mommy.
you know, she always tell me there's no such thing as no time one.
It's about making time.
Yeah, don't know what she thinks lah. She thinks 24 hours like 2,400 hours. But she always tell me like there's no such thing as no time. It's about whether or not you want to make time. Of course, when I do my voluntary work, there was a time in my life when my voluntary work took over my entire life. Monday I was at Meet the People session, and then, you know, I had to coordinate for Project Hearts, and then there was a time when Project Hope was happening and we had to do a lot of sorting, and there was a time where my entire week was just like 3 times a week or 4 times a week I was doing volunteer work.
Okay.
But I never found it a trouble. And I think that's another quality that a volunteer should have. Whatever you do, it should never be a trouble. If it's going to be a trouble for you to make time, right, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, then don't do it. Because you being a volunteer is not something that makes you feel very good about yourself, or, you know, puts you on like cream of the top or anything like that.
Okay.
I think we all volunteer for different reasons.
Yeah.
Some of us volunteer because we want to see the kids grow and become better people. Some of us volunteer because it makes us feel like a better person. And for me, I volunteer because it's something that makes me feel closer to my dad.
Yeah.
So everyone has a reason why they want to volunteer. You don't have to be a volunteer. You can give money. Or you can give time.
Right.
But you need to want to give it. You need to have the heart to give it.
Okay.
And if you can't find it within your heart today, you can always find it tomorrow lah. So it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
But would it be wrong though, for example, like for me, even for my time is packed, for example, right? Mondays to Sundays at least, because like Monday to Fridays I'm working, Saturdays is like now recording the podcast, Sundays is about editing, and then it's the week again. The time that I do maybe for one weekend on a Sunday when I do have spare time and I decide to do a volunteer, would it be wrong like for me to just go down and volunteer, and then after that, you know, I don't know when is going to be the next time I volunteer?
I think that is still fine. Like for at least for Project Hope, when it comes to, because there's a lot of sorting involved for our Project Hope, right? For all the donations, a lot of our volunteers keep changing because it depends on who is available on that day. that we have. But Project Hearts is slightly a bit different because we are dealing with the kids. So we want to have volunteers who are a bit more stable in terms of their time because they connect with the kids. You see, in Project Hearts, a lot of our volunteers have been there like for 5 years. They have all had a connection with the kids. They go play soccer. Uncle Ban brings the boys out on soccer as and when there is time and things like that. So it depends on which project you want to play a part in. So for like Project Hearts, we need volunteers who are a lot more, who can give some of their time, at least on a consistent basis, because we don't want the kids to feel abandoned. We don't want the kids to be like, how come that uncle never come again? Is it he don't like us? Because they're all young. That's how they're gonna think or perceive it. Yeah. So then we need a different type of volunteers for here. But for Project Hope, whenever you're free, if you're free on this date that I'm doing a sorting and you want to come. You can't come for the rest of the sorting, it's fine. It depends, and that's why it's very flexible, and that's why a lot of seniors and a lot of working adults and school students are volunteering in Project Hope, because it's just as and whenever we have availability.
Right.
Yeah, so you can volunteer in so many aspects. You can just go down to your CC and say, I want to be a volunteer. And depending on your time and flexibility, they'll find something for you to be a volunteer. So it really depends on taking the first step, I would say. But there's always different projects that you can be a part of. Yeah.
Wonderful. Cool. Okay, I'm out of questions actually. So I think we've more or less covered everything there is regarding Project Hearts and Hope.
Yes.
Right? Hearts first and then hope.
Yeah. Hearts and hope.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe, okay, since we're on the topic of volunteering, what would you want to say to those people who are thinking of volunteering?
I think if you're thinking of volunteering, it's always a good way to start, and I think you should reach out to me, obviously. Link
will be in description, guys.
Yes. Reach out to us, or if you think that Nee Soon is somewhere that's very far, because we do have volunteers that come from like very far places to volunteer. So, but we understand traveling is not anyone's best friend.
Right.
So, fully aware. But if you want to volunteer but you do not know how, just reach out to your GRCs, reach out to your CCs. I'm sure there'll be many ways for you to help. And I think there shouldn't be a pressure in wanting to volunteer. Like I said, sometimes volunteering is not about going somewhere and doing something. Sometimes even giving or having the belief of giving itself is what I call volunteering lah. So it's really about how we perceive it. But I guess all I want to say to people out there is that if you want to do good, just go ahead and do give a small part of yourself to make a huge difference in someone's life. It's a great feeling. Yeah,
I agree totally.
Yeah.
And how can they contribute to Project Hearts and Hope?
Well, if you want to be a volunteer, please come and reach out to me. Then I can make you a volunteer in Project Hearts. They will get to be part of the planning of the activities, and they get to mingle with the kids. They get to know the kids, the amazing kids that we have, 30 to 40 kids. They are wonderful. It's a huge family, and we have them from all age, all size. Yeah. Okay. And all characteristics, so you won't be bored. So you can do that, or if you want to just be part, you can always donate. We are planning, before COVID hit, we were actually planning to do a huge flea market for our low-income residents from all the items that was donated, especially clothes, because we have a lot of clothes that were donated, and we wanted to do it up in a flea market style where they don't pay, they just come and they grab items that they really like, and they can take it back. But of course, due to COVID, we had to cancel it. Yeah, so we are slowly resuming all of our activities, with measures. And if you want to help, we still need help for sorting and things like that. So reach out to me, and we will try to make it work when we have more details. As of now, things are on a standstill. We are just trying to take everything into a new approach. And I think that's what COVID has presented us, right? It's about how we see a problem and how we look at our current process and we change it to something that is more COVID friendly
and efficient
in a sense. Yeah. So yeah, do reach out to us, and we'll definitely find a way to make it work.
There you got it. So if you guys think that this is a good movement, it's for a good cause, and you like Nnickki, right, because she's such an approachable and sane person in her own words, please reach out to her. I'll be linking up her contact details at the end of this video, and also in the link in descriptions. So you can reach out to her and be part of this great project.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nnickki, for coming on and sharing this. It's been a real pleasure I have 2 standout lines. So that's been a great thing for me.
2 quotes for you to put.
Yeah, for me to ponder over and to put into effect in my life. So,
Right. Thank you so much for covering the project that we do. I think the good thing about this whole podcast is that, and I think what you are doing is that I think you are someone who is very normal like us. So I think to have, to have normal people come on and share their stories, I don't think it's something that everyone would do. So thank you for bringing normal people like us to share our stories and maybe not make a difference, but I think just make someone smile. I think that's something that you do very well. So thank you.
Most welcome. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Now you made it awkward for me. But thank you.
No problem.
Is there anything else maybe you'd like to share before we sign off?
Stay safe, be healthy, wear your mask, don't play pang. No, but all jokes apart, I think I just wish everyone would be safe, be happy. And I know it's a pandemic. There's a lot of problems that we are worrying about on a day-to-day basis. And life is not as normal as we make it seem. Or at least I make it seem, for that matter of fact.
Me too.
But be hopeful and always stay hopeful and be happy. I guess as long as you are happy, in one way or another, your life will be beautiful, whether you give back or whether you don't. So I just hope this podcast makes everyone understand how your smallest contribution can matter. And it's just to encourage people to give a little bit more. And that's about it.
Yep. Fantastic. So alright guys, that's Nnickki for you today. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast, and I hope that maybe you'll consider doing volunteering work as well. Alright, so don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you like today's content. Don't forget to join our Facebook group, and if you want to volunteer, links are in description. Alright, so with that ends today's podcast. Thank you again, Nnickki.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll see you guys next time in another episode of the Deep Culture Podcast. That's nice.
That's nice. Oh, you are targeting me.